So as noted in the agenda for the CalMedi Connect portion of the CCI, we have about 124,000 enrollees as of today. As we've discussed before, we really believe that the CalMedi Connect program is beneficial for dual eligible beneficiaries to be able to have an integrated plan for the Medicare and Medi-Cal portions and not have to navigate what we consider to be a fragmented system. As you may have seen sort of in the past few months, there's been research that has been coming out that where they have actually talked to people enrolled in the program, and there's high level of satisfaction. And so we're very excited about that, but obviously we want to see if there's ways we can both improve the program as well as improve the sustainability and hopefully get more people who are eligible into the program enrolled. And so in early April, we did release a comprehensive strategy related to improving the program and improving its sustainability. Our goals really were to improve the quality of care, improve the care coordination, ensure that beneficiary protections remain robust, and really generate that sustainable enrollment for the program. In total, we received comments and letters that represented the views of over 40 different stakeholder groups. And today we'll be formally announcing our decisions on those policy proposals. So I'll touch on what those decisions are here so you have those. First, with respect to the sustainable enrollment, we actually had 4 different proposals that linked to this. First was a proposal to institute another round of passive enrollment for the population that's become eligible for CalMedi Connect since the first round of passive enrollment. The second was to modify the enrollment process for individuals who are voluntarily enrolling into the program. So this would really be people who are already in on the Medi-Cal side, since these beneficiaries are enrolled on the Medi-Cal side, to be able to, if they're talking to their health plan and they indicate that they would actually like to transition into CalMedi Connect, for the plan to be able to communicate that to the department. That's how it works in the coast counties, but for the 2 plan counties, that wasn't how it worked. They had to be transferred to HCO in order to effectuate that enrollment, and we found that there were concerns and issues with that. The third is actually a targeted outreach to providers for whom we, in our detailed data analysis, saw that most of their beneficiaries who saw those providers were opting out, to help them better understand the program and how they could participate as providers. And then finally, continuing to enroll on the Medi-Cal side dual eligible beneficiaries consistent with the statute. We hadn't actually been continuing to do the mandatory enrollment, and so correcting that issue. So after the stakeholder feedback that we received, and as I said, we received a lot of feedback, we decided to modify the proposals. So we will not be moving forward in 2016 with another round of passive enrollment. There was a lot of concern raised about that, and so we understood that concern and really want to focus on the other proposals, as well as there were suggestions about some voluntary outreach and engagement to help, again, sort of educate consumers about their choices. And so we're going to be working with stakeholders on developing that proposal to really reach out and provide more education. In addition to the enrollment proposals, we also had proposals related to referrals to long-term services and supports and care coordination. We received a lot of support for all of these proposals, and so we'll be moving forward with those. So those includes things like standardizing the health risk assessment questions about referrals to the various LTSS programs and expanding the data collection and reporting related to referrals and care coordination. We actually will be releasing either today or tomorrow some draft questions and data elements for stakeholder comments, so we can get that as well. There were also a few other proposals that, again, received widespread support, including changing the continuity of care on the Medicare side from 6 months to 12 months to match what we have on the Medicaid side. So you had a few questions. I think I probably touched on most of them in that obviously we did receive stakeholder feedback. We did do a webinar and had the proposals out there, and again, got a lot of feedback for that. We decided today to announce that we're implementing what we're doing. In terms of the target enrollment number, there really isn't one. You know, I think we've talked a lot over the last few years about that whole break-even analysis in terms of the fiscal pieces of CCI, and as we've talked about, there are so many moving pieces of that analysis, including, of course, the MCO tax that thankfully we did have passed earlier this year. And so it's really hard to say what level of enrollment, because it would depend on who the enrollees are and which plans they're in. And so we don't have a target enrollment. It's really just our efforts to increase enrollment because we think the program is worth it for the people that are enrolled. With respect to the notices, I said we're not moving forward with passive this year, but to the degree that is a consideration for next year or future years, we would again be looking at those and making sure that notices would be workable for people. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Senator Monning. So I was trying to follow you.
Sorry, I talked
fast. Okay, it was good news was coming, so I was following the agenda. So passive enrollment.
Correct. Everything else moving forward.
Is, okay, so
Yeah.
everything else is in, we're just no longer doing passive. So if I look on the agenda, on pages 18 and 19, you talked about the long-term services and supports for referrals and care coordination, and that continues. Path enrollment out. The streamlined enrollment
Yep.
continues.
Moving forward, yep.
We talked about moving from the 6-month to a full year in terms of eligibility,
For the continuity of care for Medicare.
right? What else am I missing that's in?
There was a lot more detail. Oh, you're asking me to.
So all of these on, so,
Everything that's listed here other than passive enrollment.
got it, all right. That's
Easier way to.
easy way to put it, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
LAO. Finance. Public comment, a minute, please.
One question that's not in the minute. Are we here right now to testify on all of the items under CCI or just this issue of enrollment and the changes? For instance, if I want to talk about MSSP, should I wait until that's presented, or how are you proceeding?
I think you do all now, because if you look at the agenda, CCI is issue 3, then we move on to behavior health and other things. So everything on CCI
Fair
now.
enough. Now my minute starts.
All right,
First of all,
fair enough.
Gary Passmore, Congress of California Seniors. As many of the advocates behind me know, we have been very strong supporters of the Coordinated Care Initiative. I have been involved in this in all of the years of it, and I have yet to see a single piece of research or study that suggests that fee-for-service uncoordinated care is better for the population that I represent. So our goal is to promote this, and I consider every person who chooses not to enroll as a lost opportunity to provide care and ultimately long-term control costs. So I guess I want to make that really clear, and because of that, the point from which we come, we supported passive enrollment in this change, and we believe we are well served to get as many people into person-centered coordinated care as we can possibly do. We will accept the department's change, of course, on that. But please remember, we have 1,000 people a day in California becoming eligible for Medicare. Virtually all of the newly enrolled population of adults under the Affordable Care Act are in some kind of managed care Medi-Cal system. So we're going to flip the problem here very soon, and that is people covered in Medi-Cal, almost certainly in a managed care plan, are going to have continuity of care, provider availability issues coming the other direction, if you follow what I'm saying. And we need to prepare for that. These folks will already be in managed care. They will just have to deal with their newly eligible Medicare benefits in order to accommodate that. We are working over the next year or two to try to propose benefits that could be available in managed care in fulfillment of the state's pledge to increase the services available for people in managed care. And we think that that's an important way to incentivize people getting into managed care over the long haul. Finally, on MSSP, we urge that you delay the transition of all MSSP services into managed care. It's a remarkable program as it has existed, served the highest acuity people, and I don't want to see it disappear without a little more study and caution about what the long-term value of that program is and how it should operate in managed care. Thanks.
Thank you. Next witness.
Good morning. My name is Denny Chan. I'm a staff attorney at Justice and Aging. I wanted to thank the department and Mary and her team for listening to our concerns about passive enrollment and not moving forward this year with passive enrollment in 2016. And we're excited to work with the department and other stakeholders on a truly voluntary enrollment system that we think will best meet the needs of consumers here in California. I will say that we are concerned with respect to what the department has called streamlined enrollment. We think that as proposed, reducing the role of an independent enrollment broker will further result in greater confusion and erode beneficiary choice. We urge that as the department moves forward with this proposal, that the department hold from processing any enrollment until they've independently engaged the beneficiary about his or her options. As proposed, we feel like the safeguards the department has announced are inadequate to protect beneficiaries from the pressures of overzealous marketing from health plan professionals. And we think that this could actually mean beneficiaries would end up being enrolled without actually having engaged in an important consumer protection. California is a leader among duals demonstration projects across the country, and as a program that has many other consumer protections in place, we hope that maintaining the role of healthcare options as an independent enrollment broker for this vulnerable population stays in the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
Deborah Doctor, Disability Rights California. A few things. First, I also want to acknowledge that stopping passive enrollment or delaying it for a year is a very good thing. This issue of the streamlined or direct enrollment, the department has been implying that somehow consumer choice has been interfered with by the activities of the broker. We don't see any evidence of that. We've never gotten any calls from somebody who said, I really wanted to be into managed care and that darn broker talked me out of it. So we think that it's equally possible that people, once they get more information from whatever sources, change their mind. And the fact that there is a discrepancy between the number of people who said yes when they talked to the plan and no when they finally made the decision doesn't mean that the system was broken at all. On the mandatory LTSS, I want to commend staff for such a thorough job, and especially pointing out that we have 600,000 people who got put into managed care for their MLTSS outside of the CalMedi Connect, and we have no idea what's happened to them. There's no data. Unlike the duals, there's no data, there's no dashboard, there's no evaluation, nobody's asked the consumers, there's no accountability and no measurement that I know of, and I've been asking pretty regularly for a couple of years. So I really commend and urge this committee to make sure that the department is able to answer the same questions about this population as it is about the duals. And lastly, the only thing I want to associate myself with Mr. Passmore's comments is his support for the MSSP program. Thank you.
Linda Way with Western Center on Law and Poverty. We appreciate the department's delay of passive enrollment, but as stated by Justice and Aging, also have concerns about the streamlined enrollment process. We believe the focus should be on quality. We know from surveys of beneficiaries that many are not even aware that care coordination is a benefit, and so we look forward to working with the department on educating beneficiaries and focusing on quality. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Nick Luizos on behalf of the California Association of Health Plans, representing 48 health plans across the state, including the CCI plans. We strongly support the continuation of the CCI program within the state budget, and we're committed to working with the state and the advocates to ensure the long-term success of the program. We support the streamlined enrollment process. We believe it's a good step towards hitting the enrollment goals and the budget savings targets. In order to meet the overall enrollment goals and to keep the program financially viable, we do support the inclusion of the passive enrollment element. We think it represents the best chance of meeting our shared objectives. So we'd like to continue working with the state and others to ensure that it eventually gets integrated into the program. Thank you.
Chair and members, Kathy Mossberg, representing the local health plans, both the COs and in the two plan models. We want to thank the department. We've been working with them over the last year to make this sort of a better program. We do appreciate the streamlined enrollment. We understand the passive enrollment is off the table for 2016, and we'll certainly work within the confinements of sort of where that works as we move forward and look to sort of working on this as we move forward into 2017 to make those fiscal sort of goals for the program. So thank you.
Good afternoon. Denise Leiker, MSSP Site Association, as well as Independents at Home, Los Angeles County, serving MSSP members in the southern part of the county. Thank you for having this hearing today. We first want to start off and echo the comments of Justice and Aging around the enrollment process. We're grateful to hear that we're going to suspend the passive enrollment at this point. But focusing on the MSSP, most frail and fragilest of our population that is in the CalMedi Connect and CCI, it doesn't represent the whole population. We understand that we're a small subset of this whole puzzle. But as you heard today, obviously there's still a lot of work. This has been a complicated project to pull off, and the state has been putting a lot of resource and time, which we commend in trying to shore up the entire CCI benefit. We're asking for a step back where we're concerned because there's not time to focus on our small population while working on the bigger picture. So we're asking for a step back to suspend the timeline and to look at revisiting now that what we do know is that less than 10% of the MSSP population is in CalMedi Connect. The majority of them are in only the Medi-Cal benefit, and we still have a quite sizable population in fee-for-service Medi-Medi. So before we can really move forward to work on a transition of a benefit, or we need to step back, look at what we've learned so far, solidify CCI, but we need the time to do that, then work on this specific population. So in the agenda, we're asking for revisiting our payment structure revisiting the timeline, as well as relooking at the roles of coordination, not asking to not be involved, asking for redefinement of it while we work on everything else and we set up a more logical view of how this population will be served inside managed care. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and member. My name is Eileen Coons, and I am with the MSSP Site Association and site director for the MSSP in Pasadena, located in Pasadena, serving the entire San Gabriel Valley. I just want to echo also Justice and Aging's comments and ask, as well as my colleague Denise Leiker's comments, and just stress to you that so many of our participants, in fact, at my site, it's 94% of our participants are not within CalMedi Connect. And what that means is they have no ability to access assistance in making their Medi-Cal benefits work now, other than our staff working tirelessly and ever more than they ever have in the past, helping people access their medical benefits. And it's not uncommon for us to encounter people when we enroll them who have no idea that they're in managed care, who have no idea why they that they have a benefit, something like incontinence products or transportation assistance, why something changed with their access to benefits. We have people that used to receive oral nutritional supplements like the Glucerna or the Ensure as a pretty significant portion of their daily nutritional needs, and can no longer receive that, and so family are paying for it. Our program is able to step in and provide some gap filling assistance while we advocate for those benefits to kick in, but this has created a new level of fragmentation that just wasn't there, quite frankly, before CCI. And so we just would ask that you allow us to be able to focus on what we're really there to do and coordinate with the health plans, and not so much of this administrative stuff involved in being embedded within managed care right now. So
thank you very much. Next witness, 1 minute, please.
Good afternoon. Susan Fila from Jewish Family Service, also representing MSA. I'd like to also echo me too, my colleague Denise Leiker, Eileen Coons, and Justice and Aging. We're the second largest site in LA County that serves about 800 MSSP participants annually. Our clients are the least likely to withstand change. Like most of our clients are also, they opted out their Medicare for fear of changing doctors. Many of our clients don't speak English and have a very strong connection with their doctor, have been with their doctor for many, many years, and they're afraid. One of our clients in particular, Mr. Martinez, he's 78 years old. He lives in an RV, rents a lot, and he has been with his doctor for many, many years, and he's been with our case management department for many, many years. He suffered about 2 years ago a physical attack in an alley, and as a result suffered a brain injury. And so now he forgets his doctor's appointments, and he often forgets to open his mail. He has, as a result, had several electricity turn-off notices and is now being evicted. This is a very common scenario that we encounter with our MSSP participants, especially when they first come to us. It's rare that it happens kind of after they've been in the program for a while, but it did happen with him. And the case manager was able to escort him to the doctor, escort him to housing court, provide that translation that he needed. We really don't know what would have happened. There is no care coordination with the health plans for this particular client because he's Medi-Cal only. I am asking for an extension or a removal of the timeline until we figure out what to do for this population and for people like Mr. Martinez. Thank you very much.
Please, you have 1 minute.
Hello, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. Melissa Larcon. I'm from Sourcewise MSSP Site 20. It's serving the entire Santa Clara County. And I echo what my previous colleagues have said in Justice on Aging. And I just want to add also that one of the concerns we have that most of the referrals that we are obtaining that are within the health plans are coming from adult protective services. And these are individuals who were referred to adult protective services because of self-neglect, needing a lot of services. And the concern is that with such a large number that the health plans have, they're going unnoticeable. They're not reaching out to them. And they come to us and we immediately work with them and start putting services in place. Also, recent discharges from nursing homes. This last week, a gentleman was discharged from a skilled nursing facility. He's legally blind, amputee, has no services in place at all, no family supports, and the referral source indicated that. I immediately assigned a case to, and the social worker went out and did an assessment, enrolled him in the program the next day, and began putting services in place like in-home care assistance in the interim process, referring him to Meals on Wheels, and then making referrals to the long-term care plans such as IHSS. So those are the individuals that we're really concerned about, that they would get lost in the shuffle. So I support what my colleagues have said.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your testimony. Next witness, 1 minute, please.
Hello, my name is Renee Ochoa. I'm with Partners in Care Foundation. I'm a supervising care manager, and I would like to support the proposal for delaying the passive enrollment. Working with MSP for 6 years, it does cause a lot of frustration with many of our clients in understanding, although we are very much involved with guiding them to where they need to go, but the anxiety in their voice and coupled with their multiple health conditions, it really does, when you're talking to somebody who has a lot of high anxiety, sometimes they're not listening. So it really needs, you have to kind of like take them through it, and calm them down and reassure them it's going to be okay. And sometimes that just takes a little more, a little more longer, not, maybe from their doctor or from their family understanding it. So I just wanted to support that proposal, as well as support my colleagues with MSSP long-term goals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next witness, 1 minute, please.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Fred Main, on behalf of CalPACE, the statewide association of the PACE organizations. We wanted to support overall the continuation of the coordinated care initiative, but we have offered some comments to the department on the proposal. We think that on program improvement, that there should be work with the department, the plans, and PACE organizations on a uniform set of assessment questions so that it can be better determined those beneficiaries that might benefit from access to PACE. Likewise, guidance from the department that health plans are able to refer to beneficiaries to PACE organizations. We've actually been working cooperatively with the department and coming up with something like that, and just look forward to finishing it. We would restate our position that for those programs, including the MLTSS and Medi-Cal-only beneficiaries, that PACE materials be included in the enrollment process. It's been an ongoing issue, and any encouragement to the department to do that would be greatly appreciated. And then finally, on the streamlined enrollment process, we are concerned that without including affirmative enrollment choices by the beneficiaries, that the proposal of enrolling without more direct affirmation will mean that PACE will be difficult to explain to a participant who's already made a choice, even though they have the ability to opt out. So we would like to be able to talk to them before they're actually enrolled in a health care plan and provide the benefits of PACE. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, 1 minute, please.
Madam Chair and Senator Monty, Jolena Voris on behalf of the urban counties of California. We're in strong support of the continuation of the CCI program. This program is operating in 7 urban counties. Those urban counties have invested a lot and want to see that continued. As you probably know, there's also sort of a complex financing arrangement between this and IHSS for the counties and the IHS MOE, so we are in strong support of the continuation. We're also really appreciative of the efforts that DHS has made to increase enrollment and participation. They've been great partners with the counties and the plans, and so we want to urge your strong support for a continuation of the CCI. Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness, 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Eduardo Martinez with the California Medical Association. I just wanted to quickly ditto the comments from the Western Center and Justice and Aging about the concern about the enrollment processes. Thank you.
Thank you. Final witness.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Senator Monning. Tam Ma with Health Access California. We just want to note that Medi-Cal managed care plans, including the CCI plans, are required to file timely access reports with the Department of Managed Health Care. The department just last week made the report for measurement year 2014 publicly available, and we urge the Department of Healthcare Services to look at those reports and make sure that these plans are meeting their timely access obligations, and that consumers that are enrolled in CCI actually get access, timely access to care.
Fair point. Thank you very much. It just occurs to me as I sit here and think about, you know, the notion that the passive enrollment is really on a temporary pause. I just think it's challenging, particularly as we roll out new programs, when we kind of shift policy from year to year. So we'll go through this year with no passive enrollment, and just as we talk about consumers already being confused with the new process. So I hope we come to a final conclusion soon in terms of what the longer-term plan will be. It's the recommendation that we hold these items open. Senator Monty, you cool with that? Excellent.